Welcome to My on Mondays, an explorative approach to the possessive my through narratives, art, and sound. Each Monday brings a new creation and unique perspective. My on Mondays is brought to you by MING Studios, a contemporary art space and international artist residency program dedicated to the exhibition, experience, and exploration of arts and culture. Along with exhibiting artists from around the world, MING also serves the community by hosting innovative programs including performances, workshops, screenings, readings, artist talks, and other cultural activities. For more information, or if you'd like to participate in My on Mondays, you can visit our website at mingstudios.org. Hello and welcome to My on Mondays. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with photographer Vassilis Kritikos. Born in Athens, Greece in 1954, Vassilis studied electrical engineering and headed an IT company for 33 years. But from a young age, having lived and loved the cultural movement of the decade preceding the dictatorship in Greece in 1967, he was always interested in music, theater, and cinema. He's been involved in photography for over 40 years, and in 2006 he founded Eilissos, a company for culture, with the aim of expression but also helping artists. His book of photographs, Moments of a Journey, was published in 2020. I met Vassilis in Athens this past November after discovering his apartment gallery and theater space, Eilissos. The idea of engaging with art and community in alternative and intimate spaces is a particular interest of mine, and after finding the colorful online photos of a space so obviously created with loving, artistic care, I knew I wanted to meet and speak with Vassilis in person. I'm so glad I did. It was a beautiful connection and conversation, and I'm really pleased to be able to introduce you to Vassilis and his work today. It's really good to get to talk to you again. I had such a lovely time meeting with you when I was in Athens, and
I am also happy to speak with you, and also to speak with middle of nowhere, as you I mean Idaho, as you named it in one post I read before.
And, yeah, I do live in the middle of nowhere, Idaho. I live up in the mountains. So.
But also there is a charm for us in this world, in this place, in this state, Idaho. You remember there was a film, something like 30-something years before. A film with Keanu Reeves, I think, and River Phoenix, and it was my own private Idaho.
Yeah, I have never seen that film. I feel like everyone has seen it except for me.
I don't remember many things now, but I remember that, as I told you, there is a charm for us, as in many places that appear. There are some places that are named in poetry. For example, there is an island in Greece called Amorgos. And this island is also the name of the single poem of a big poet of Greece, Nikos Gatsos. Then many people went to Amorgos because of this poem, of this big poem about Amorgos. Then, like that, Idaho has a charm for many people because of this film and all the mythology around this. Okay, then I'm happy to reach you there. And I saw where it is, because I didn't knew before where exactly in USA. And I see it's near Canada border. Yes. And I would like really to visit one day. Okay, we shall see.
You're most welcome. So you have always had a love of the arts, but you actually spent 33 years as an electrical engineer before you sort of developed yourself, dedicated yourself fully to the arts as you are now. So can you tell us a little bit about what that shift was like for you?
As you stated, I finished Polytechnic school. I was an engineer. I have been an engineer, and for 33 years I had a company in informatics. This is it was good, but it was also, let's say, because of a fault I made when I came back from my initial education in Belgium, and I came back to Greece. And instead of continuing to be an architect, that was my initial goal, finally, I continued in Greece and I finished as electrical engineer. Because at that period, you remember that I am a little bit old. Then at that period, it was not so many difference. I mean, some young person had to be an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer, etc. Then very easily I changed from architect because of a problem here to continue the studies. I had to lose 1 year to become architect. Then instead to lose this 1 year, I finally continued as electrical engineer, and I finished electrical engineer. I never done this profession. Finally, I had a company initially from for 33 years, as you said, till the end of 11 during the financial crisis. And my company, after 33 years, stopped to work. And but as you mentioned, I had some loves from my childhood about theater and music, especially. Then I decided from 2004, after the death of my father, and I visited. It is a coincidence. I was 50 years old at that time. Mm-hmm. Then I visited the house of a big Greek painter who was also dead, and his wife and the daughters he had, they made a space of art where they have done different concerts, etc., etc. Then, inspired from this case, from this space of Spiros Vassiliou, who was the painter, this famous painter of Greece and especially of Athens, then I decided to make also a space of art called Eilissos. Eilissos was the biggest river in the antiquity of Athens, and it was a holy river with many sanctuaries for Kalliroi and different other gods, etc. Then, and also because the name of Eilissos came because also from a song of 60s, during 60s, from a famous film of a big director of cinema, of Greek cinema, Nikos Koundouros. Then in this film there is a song called Eilissos. Then it's about the river again, but it's a funny song, but a song from 60s that remind us that during 60s there was in Greece a cultural movement, when all the popular songs were real poems. The texts were real poems. Then finally I decided to do this. It was also my contribution, my intervention, let's say, after many years I was involved in politics with some parties, perhaps different also. But finally, after there was a deception of all this procedure, and finally decided that I have to intervene through art, and even if I influence even 5 people, even 1 people, it's enough. Yet, because someone we cannot save the world. We can perhaps save, between quotes, we can save perhaps one person, two persons.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's also very nice.
Yeah.
In the morning, I was, during early afternoon, I was a serious man with a costume, going to different clients to trying to sell solutions of informatics. But after 6 o'clock in the afternoon, I was in my theater with the artists to do rehearsals, and I was very, 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 very happy for this.
Yeah. The beginning of Eilissos was actually one of my later questions, which you've already ended up answering. But I would like to go back a little bit. You talked about the cultural movement preceding the dictatorship in 1967.
Yes.
And I'd love to hear a little bit more about what it was like living in that period, and what it was like going from that sort of burst of cultural vibrancy and then into a dictatorship. What was that like for you?
I would try to describe a little bit about this cultural movement you mean. Okay.
Yeah. To start with.
Then after you know that after the war, the Second World War, in Greece there was a civil war during 3 years till 1949.
Okay.
Not like other European countries. In Greece, after the war, there was another war, very bad, very very difficult, because members of one family could kill the other. We understand it was a civil war. But everything, let's say, finished during 50s. There was someone who won the war. It was the right, let's say, the right hand in politics. The Communist Party was out of the law after 49 for many years, till we arrived at 67. We arrived at the dictatorship. There was a dictatorship of colonels who lasted 7 years. But before that, in the end of 50s and all the first years of 60s, there was a cultural movement, as I told you, with many big compositors of music. For example, Manos Hadzidakis. It's the one who won also the Oscar for the music on Never on Sunday at 60, I think, 60 or 61, if I remember well. The other big compositor at that time, it was Mikis Theodorakis, who won also, who made also the Zorba, the music for Zorba, the Greek film, and also the well-known piece of music, Zorba, the Sirtaki dance, let's say. And after them, other compositors in the same period, Xarchakos and Moutsis and different others. All these were based on what we call here in Greece, we called rebetiko songs. And and rebetiko comes from people that came during 22, who were the catastrophe of the destruction, the disaster, let's say, of Greeks of Asia Minor, and there was something like 1 million and more refugees that came in Greece, and they left Asia Minor, and they came in inland and in the islands. Then their music and was the rebetiko songs. Many of them were first recorded in USA. Because they left USA to work in USA, and the first rebetiko songs were recorded in USA.
I did not realize that. Okay.
Yes, and there is a famous singer, a woman, Vula Papagika, for example, and many other compositors. They started to record in USA, but among them, there is a big one, the bigger one, not from USA, I mean here in Greece, was Vassilis Kritikos. And on his songs and in the whole Rebetiko song, these compositors I told you of 60s, Manos Hadjidakis and Mikis Theodorakis, etc., they were based on them and they made very beautiful music that is remains today live. It's the best you can hear here in Greece. And Manos was more sensible, let's say, more sentimental, let's say, his music, speaking more about love and other sentiments. And Mikis was more epic. He was involved in politics, and his songs were our company during dictatorship and just after. It is the songs we can hear even today. Many times people, we lived this period, and to have our psychotherapy with them. Then that's about, this was the cultural movement. But also, there was also cinema in many other fields. But the main, let's say, field was music and the texts, because these compositors have put in music poetry of, for example, Manos Hadjidakis of Nikos Gatsos, and some other poems, and himself also the texts, and Mikis with many other poets like Yannis Ritsos and Giorgos Eferis, and etc., etc., etc. Odysseas Elitis, of poets that won also the Nobel, like Seferis and Elitis. They were put in music from Mikis Theodorakis. At that period, there was many big singers in the popular songs like Bifikotis, like Kazazidis, in the most, let's say, music also popular, but more, let's say, more light. We call here light, but it's not light. It was also the music of Manos Hadjidakis, and were sung from Nana Mouskouri and other singers.
Okay. So then I'm assuming there was a big change once the dictatorship came into power. Exactly.
When there was the dictatorship, first of all the songs of Mikis we could not hear, we could not buy the discs of Mikis Theodorakis. It was the songs of resistance, let's say, or for the dictatorship. And also many singers who were singing outside Greece. For example, Nana Mouskouri was in France, and many times in her concerts, who was not someone who was not a leader, she was not doing resistance, but in all the concerts there were some songs, and at that period, Greek songs, special songs that had the text speaking about liberty, about better days that will come, etc., etc. And because she has sung also the songs of Mikis Theodorakis, she could not come back to Greece during the dictatorship.
So I'd like to talk a little bit about your own work. Your main form of expression is with photography, and so all of this time you've been working with photography for over 40 years as an art form. And so I'd like to hear a little bit about that work. And specifically, I'm always curious. I feel like most artists tend to have a specific theme or an essence that they're trying to capture in their work, whether they're conscious of it or not. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious what you think is the essence of what you're trying to capture with your photography.
Uh-huh. I started photography many years before, 40 years before at least. And after, as many photographers, initially I photographed flowers or the sunset, etc., etc. After that, I was involved. I wanted always to have a strong subject and to speak with my photographs. Then I'm always looking to make the photos with most of the times it's with a presence of human beings in a photo. And I like, as I told you, to have a strong subject. For example, I find this when I visit different places. I like, for example, I was in India, but I don't photograph the monuments. I like to photograph people after they accept, of course, to be photographed. And I have been in the desert during 1 week walking. I have been in a ghost town in Asia Minor, where there were only Greeks and they left at 22, and now it's an empty town and with holes in the windows and in the roofs, etc., etc. And this is also a part of a book that I published. This is the case also for the last project. The last project that was the I made the book after this last project. The last project, the name is No Name People. Then with No Name People, in this project, I was influenced from an old song, perhaps you know, an old song of Woody Guthrie and Pete Seeger. And this song was, the name is Deportee. Then Deportee speaks about Mexican illegal workers that they come to USA, inside the USA. They do all the works about the fruits, about the roads. They build the roads, etc., etc. But after a certain time, they take them back. They call them deportees, and they take them back to Mexico.
Yeah.
One time during the end of 40s, I think, there was a plane crash in Los Gatos Canyon, and Woody Guthrie heard in the radio that the plane crashed. There were 5 people of the crew with the names they told in the radio, and 30 deportees without name.
Yeah.
Then this was the case. He made this song where he says in the text, you come here, you do all the works, etc., but you remain only a deportee. And after that, in the refrain, she says he gives names. Adios Roselita, Carlos and Maria, etc., etc., etc. Then this song was sung from Bob Dylan, from Johnny Cash, Chris Christopherson, Joan Baez, and in France during 70s with French text, but with the same subject exactly, was sung from Nana Mouskouri, as I told you, this Greek singer that was made career also in France, in England, etc. And influence from this case of Mexican people, I made this project because it's not only there, these no-name people, it's also in India, people that lives near a river, and perhaps they die during the night and the river takes them to the sea. Nobody knows, nobody cares about them if they are so poor. Perhaps they don't have even an ID, nothing at all. But the same thing is also with refugees that come in the Mediterranean Sea from Africa, and here in Greece in the Aegean Sea from Turkey, but they don't come from Turkey. They come initially from Syria, from Lebanon, from Iraq, from Afghanistan, from different places where there is a war, and they want to come to Europe. They take a boat, and many times they are dead in the sea in Mediterranean Sea. Then, influenced from all these cases, I took some actors and we made the same environment, and I made them look like refugees, and the purpose was not to make exactly the same as refugees, but it was to sensibilize people, at least not to throw stones to refugees, at least.
To bring awareness to their humanity.
Yes, exactly. And we have to accept that all us, as civilized, between quotes, world, it's us, it's our fault if people from Africa want to come to Europe, or people from wars in the Middle East, they want also to come, they are refugees after the war. Then it's something we are responsible as Europeans and Americans, of course.
Yes, of course.
Of course. First perhaps Americans, but also Europeans. Then it's not... it is something that will happen, and we have to accept it, that perhaps after our... in the same place as our house, where there is nobody to annoy us, tomorrow there will be some refugees. It's normal after our policy all these years. That's about photo. It's I want, as I say in my book, I want to speak with my photos, and I don't like so much to explain everything. Because it's a book with it is called Moments of a Journey, but the journey as life, and there is 200 pages with photos without any text, and there are only 40 pages initially with 10 chapters. And there are some explanations without going to the detail. And the main thing for me, it's like poetry. You have to feel what this photo makes to you, how you feel it, nothing else.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that is so great about art, is there are a lot of things that there just aren't words for, and so images or music or whatever is a way of expressing that.
To create this place, as I told you, Eilissos, it is perhaps it's for me an act of politics also. It doesn't mean it's politics like a didactic in a didactic way, but it's politics. It's one of the way I want to intervene, and of course photography. And now there is behind us all these 17 seasons of complete winter seasons of this theater. Perhaps a circle was finished, and now perhaps I will continue. I don't know if I continue so much with the theater. Perhaps we will do some events during the year, but not so many as before. And I will be more involved to visit remote countries like Uzbekistan, for example, like Georgia, I don't know, like Pakistan, etc., like North Thailand, and to come back with experiences and with photos, of course, and to write another book or some other books about these places, but not touristic books with my experiences from there. This is my purpose. It will be perhaps my third life, because my first was the company, as we said. My second was the theater. And my third life, perhaps, is this one with the many trips, many journeys to different interesting remote places, and to do photos and write things.
Yeah. For me, one of the reasons I chose to go to Athens instead of going to one of the islands or something like that is not only because Athens does have incredible ancient sites, which I have a very strong personal interest in, but also because as I researched, I found that Athens seemed to have this really strong and vibrant culture of contemporary artists. And I'm curious, which is something that you're directly involved in with Eilissos. And so I'm curious, why do you think the arts culture is so strong in Athens? Because I notice it more than in other cities.
I understood. For Greece, theater is really something that started from Greece, and it's something we love, Greeks, all over Greece, not only in Athens. Like, for example, Italians, they love opera. Okay, then opera in Italy you can find everywhere, etc., etc. But also theater in Greece, not only during summer in open air, antique or contemporary theaters, but also, for example, in winter in Athens there are more than 150 theaters, and it is like London, for example, and the quality also of the place, of the performances, is again like, let's say, comparable to London quality. There are many productions, many productions, very, very good, very, very nice, very interesting. We cannot attend all of them. Then the reason is that it's something like a national, it's something national theater for us. It's something we started from here with tragedies and comedies of Aristophanes and tragedies of Sophocles and others, and all these theaters, all these plays of antiquity, they are played again and again with a new direction, etc., in theaters during summer and during winter, in different cases and different aspects. Then we really love theater. Also, there is many production of young people, and in places like Eilissos. Eilissos is a small theater, was a small theater and will continue, of this dimension, around 50 people of audience. This was also the quantity of audience that Grotowski, Jerzy Grotowski, wanted in his when he played theater. Grotowski, he wrote, it was the director of theater from Poland who revolutionized theater during 20th century. He wrote a book about the poor theater. And what means poor? Poor theater means that we don't need perhaps lights, we don't need the decor. We need to make theater one audience and one actor. And the actor must be a total actor, not to play only with his words and his only with mind, but to play also with his body, and staying in a black room, in a black box, to make me believe that he's playing in a palace, or he's walking in the sea. You understand? Then this was the Grotowski philosophy. It was about the essentials, to keep only the essentials, not to have many decor, many lights. I don't know. That doesn't matter, all this. The main thing is to keep the essentials. And it's a whole philosophy. Under this, we can find this philosophy in church, in many books. Then Eilissos is in this quantity, in this philosophy, but also other small theaters in Athens, and where you can find really very, very nice performances, very nice plays.
Then that brings me to my last question, since we're speaking of theater and speaking of Eilissos. What do you have coming up in the theater? Did you finish the remodeling, the reconstruction?
Yes, it is finished. Now I'm speaking to you. We cannot have an image, but I can send you. I will send you some photos. Then everything is finished now. But there are no plans during this season. Perhaps we shall do some exhibition again, the exhibition of photos again, because last year I had during 2 months exhibition of my photos, an exhibition called Anthropy. Anthropy means people in Greek. Anthropy, bodies, faces, and looks. Then there were black and white photos, and perhaps we shall do it again because it was very successful last year. And perhaps we shall do it again, or we shall do another with more color, perhaps, exhibition. But there is no plans during this season because it was not so clear when the renovation will finish. But we shall see from October. We shall see what will happen. For sure, we shall do some interesting things. I will make a call. I will make a general call and show some people. They will come and they will propose me to present their work. It was like that all these years, but also it was sometimes I went to festivals and I found myself some teams to present a play. Eilissos started more for young people and young actors, and we wanted to help young actors. But also there were some famous people in acting and also in singing that they were presented here. They liked, for example, for singing, they liked to be in a small place, and so people, they come to hear the music, not only to speak with another friend and behind there is a music. You understand? Then this was, and also for theater, it was live. It was in front of them. The actors played. Then you cannot say lies like that. It has to be true, and it goes like that. Yeah. I forgot to tell you also that Eilissos was for many years during the financial crisis, during 4 years, I think, it was what we call here the conservatoire, the social conservatoire. Donc, it means it was a place, one of the 3 places, with 100 music that were involved to offer lessons to people who were not able to pay the lessons.
Oh, fantastic.
Then during 4 or 5 years, one of the 3 places in Athens we made this social conservatoire. One of them was Eilissos, and for example, in one room there was a lesson of piano, in another room a lesson of violin, etc. In another room another instrument, and it was something also very, very interesting, and I think it was some offer to young people, and not only there was not children, it was young people in general. And this is the spirit of Eilissos.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Wow.
Thank you.
Well, thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with me again. It's such a pleasure, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you again at some point in the future. I'd love to return to Athens, but thank you so much for speaking with me today.
Thank you also, and I hope also, I wish to have you back in Athens, and this time to attend also to some performances here in Eilissos, and also to see how it is now. It is a little bit different, but also with the same spirit.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
For this, and I am happy that I spoke to middle of nowhere to Idaho that remains something that has, as I told you, a charm, and I will find one day the way to come there.
Oh,
okay.
Wonderful. I would love that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back next Monday. Tune in.